What really happens to the Parthenon, the Acropolis electromagnetic forces? Let's keep in mind that this is not the only temple that this happens to. This happened in most ancient temples, even the ancient temple of Jerusalem. There was a reason why they had columns. The columns were supposedly bringing in the electromagnetic forces from the earth through the columns and up, and the people that were passing through these columns would have a benefit to normalize their health. Now, according to what happens with the Parthenon electromagnetic forces, Plato describes in Timaeus the spiritual essence of the universe, the cosmic body or body of the universe which God created based on geometry and mathematics expressed through the great cosmic laws, creating through the structures and forms, solids, that are expressed through the middle and extreme speech, and of course of Plato, believing that polyhedra are the cornerstones, the most basic and important building blocks in the creation of the universe. Kepler, we know him from the Kepler telescope. Kepler, who was fluent in ancient Greek, studied the works of ancient Greek scientists and observed in his later research that the orbits of the planets, and the Earth in this case, write as they rotate the circumference of certain polyhedra. For example, the orbit of Mars writes the circumference of a tetrahedron. The orbit of Jupiter, the circumference of a cube. The orbit of Venus, the circumference of the Earth, octahedron, icosahedron, 20-sided cube, etc. Now, in Pythagoras' regarding cosmic solids, it's based on the idea that man and the earth are an ideal mathematical and mechanical model where one influences the behavior of the other, and therefore its evolution and the level of structure. And we recently have this same exact finding as evidence from heart math by the scientists there, saying that even our prayers and our positive meditation can change not only earth weather, but even solar storms. Okay? This is evidenced by the scientists on heart math. Now, what these ancient Greeks were believing. Now, man lives on earth, so he is in relation to it and vice versa. The earth-man system is an automatic control system with which one cannot act independently of the other without affecting the whole system. In other words, our actions, our thoughts affect our earth and the whole of the universe. And our positive actions and our effects and our thoughts affect the earth and the sun and the universe positively. Now, if we take this into account now that the earth has specific points that are directly related to its energy fields, hence areas with increased electromagnetic activity or capacitance, areas that due to potential, hence due to distance from specific energy sources, celestial bodies, affect the earth, creating magnetic fields that affect all of the surrounding space and flora, and of course the behavior of humans and animals and water, even the moon. Now, the man-earth celestial relationship is perhaps the key to the gates to both the stars and the stars to earth, or even more likely to be the cause of many disasters that have occurred on earth. The geometry of the shapes that people have known and used since ancient times in their constructions, of course, was not accidental. The secret forces of the pyramids. The perfect geometric construction of the pyramids is not a result of luck, but it is no coincidence that the abolition of harmony and geometry in the works left behind by the great ancients, megalithic monuments of massive mass with an anarchic construction, express the personification of the imposition of force on the cosmic soul and the inferior spiritual capacity of the builders. Of course, astrological orientation is a given, but scientific knowledge and engineering are not necessarily elements of spiritually evolved beings. The German scientist H. Schmutz, who wrote in the book quote, the pantheadric construction of the earth, end quote, makes a detailed description of the pentagon and its properties, and of course its relationship with our earth. I kept a sentence from the whole book, quote, the energy state of a place does not change easily, and in order to achieve this, one must constantly bombard that point with ultra-high frequency electromagnetic waves. However, the change of the energy field in one part of the planet can cause irreparable damage to the balance of the whole ecosystem. Recently in Chile, not a random place, a city moved 3 kilometers, which means that they're trying again to bring about fatal changes to the earth which do not bode well for anything. For this reason, the true HARP antenna system in Alaska, Norway, and even Cyprus, with the effects of focused energy on the ionosphere, a weapon of mass destruction influencing frequencies of the human mind with all the tragic consequences it can bring, with the combined side effect from the infections of psychoactive neurotoxic substances of barium and aluminum that are regular intervals sprayed in the air and in some other European countries, so that some scientists, researchers can map the energy flow of the earth, currents and interactions with celestial bodies. It's disgraceful to see this happening, exactly these radiations that could be used by medicine to treat madness, schizophrenia, epilepsy, and other related diseases. Astrology preserves in its symbols the flow of electromagnetic waves in the symbol of Aquarius. In conclusion, we can see exactly this knowledge of the interaction of energy with the ecosystem of the temple of the Virgin Athena, the Parthenon, and the Acropolis. First of all, if we examine the details in its dimensions, we find that in these numbers are expressed universal units of measurement, such as the number phi, which is the golden ratio at 1.61803, the number pi, 3.1416, and epsilon, E, 2.16802. Now, besides, we should not forget the two pyramids that form the extensions of the sacred rock at 835.5 meters, and the extensions of the columns of the Parthenon at 1,852 meters. It's known that the pyramid is the most energetic solid shape. In the book of the great writer Kaloyerakis, The Testament of Prometheus, the following are mentioned about the Acropolis. The Parthenon of the Acropolis of Athens is made of Pentelic marble. It's a white marble. The foundation is made of porphyry. The rock is made of limestone. Its shape, the height, and the shape of the columns constitute a multifaceted electric motor with unimaginable energy effects still unknown to us. It may seem strange how our ancestors controlled electricity because modern technology with its complete ignorance made the problem complex. The multifaceted energy produced on the rock of the Acropolis could cover a huge part of the energy problem of the city of Athens. Several years ago, this energy helped to neutralize the multiple population of the city atmosphere. That is, it helped to neutralize the smog. However, today it has been neutralized on one hand due to the removal of marbles to protect them from the city's pollutants, on the other hand due to the volume of cement and iron in the buildings of Athens. The point of the temple where the ivory statue of Athena was placed was the point of maximum energy accumulation. Let's remember, it was a huge gold statue. According to current data, the statue was one pole of the accumulator rock, and the other pole was the well at the back of the temple, which is now sealed. Thus, the static electricity of the rock accumulated in the temple created a magnetic field, electromotive force, and an ionization of the atmosphere, and these phenomena were amplified to the maximum by a crystal that was in the cave below the temple. The energy was dissipated for the desired purposes with the pillars of the temple, which were used as conduits of energy. The underground telluric currents and the electromagnetic field of the earth accumulated in the rock quantities of static electricity that was amplified by the shape of the Parthenon and its construction material, pendelic marble and cosmic energy. Remember the pendelic marble, and it's white, clear, clean marble. Now, the whole current structure of the temple shows that there was ground for discharge and a gap under the temple for the release of excess energy. The stone hills around the rock of the Acropolis of Athens are part of the whole energy grid for the production of piezoelectric phenomena, since it was converted into collectors of cosmic energy and earthly electricity, at the same time into electromagnetic energy capacitors. Later, the houses at the base of the rock of the Acropolis also accumulated a large amount of energy: Pericles Conservatory with a pyramidal roof and theaters. This staticity of the structures was largely due to the dynamic fields created at the connecting joints of the columns and neutralized tendencies of displacement of the vertebra. The whole rock is a very powerful energy space, a space of communication with space and an exit gate in another dimension with a focus on the intersection of the diagonals of the Parthenon, according to a message from Olympia. The rock of the Acropolis was a powerful accumulator of all kinds of energy, positive electromagnetic fields, and the temple was transformed into a capacitor which bound it with the shape, the material of construction, and the foundation. The combination of the white pendelic marble, porosity foundation, and limestone rock created piezoelectric and electrostatic charges, and these generated a magnetic field, resulting in uninterrupted production of electricity that accumulated in the temple. This energy was also used to activate the gorgon when required. The accumulated energy was dissipated in the caves of the Acropolis rock or diffused into the surrounding hills and enhanced the charge of the naval collectors of marble or special crystals, and thus created an extensive energy grid. Due to the morphology of the underground area of the rock, the telluric currents and the cosmic energy, it also functioned as an orgone collector, ether collector. In summary, we could say that the rock is a source of geomagnetic and cosmic energy that accumulated in the Parthenon Acropolis capacitor, attracting pole and transformer of electromagnetic energy, and held large loads. The maximum value of the energy field of the rock was at the intersection of the diagonals of the temple and was transferred to a depth where there was a special crystal that enhanced all forms of energy. Today, some may have succeeded in necrosis of the Parthenon by using pieces of concrete instead of marble in the columns, but they could not do the same on the rock despite the sealing of the caves, closing up of the caves, which neutralizes some positive energy elements. The properties of the rock in combination with various cosmic factors, which we will mention below, created jets of light, flashes, luminosities, sound phenomena that gave the feeling that the rock of the Acropolis hosts not only sanctuaries but also the Olympians themselves. The lighting of the Acropolis at night aims at the disappearance of all these phenomena because some people have demanded it. It's lit at night as a landmark. If it wasn't lit, we may be able to perhaps see some of these orbs. Now, as mentioned here, extending the size of the rock to a height of 835.5 meters, as well as the columns in the height of 1,852 meters, form pyramidal solids that aid in energy collection. The most interesting point of the Acropolis rock is the caves that exist at the base, the number of which, according to archaeologists, ranges between 5 and 10. The strange thing is that there is no description of their depth and what they hosted, or where they ever researched. Why were the caves sealed and their access banned for years? How deep were they? What were the unspoken, where even today no one talks about them? What can happen under the rocks? Is there a foundation for the Parthenon or not? Now, I know my parents were architects, and my mother was one of the first women to go to the Polytechnic School here in Athens, Greece, and she had a summer job, a project to do, and all the architects know how to get through into these caves to go up into the Parthenon. These were like escape routes, or people from the farming land around the Parthenon would go up to the temple to save themselves. So they knew how to get through these caves up to the Parthenon, and all the architects knew how to get through these caves. Okay, this is one of the things that they know how to do. So this I've translated for you from a Greek article. I hope you found it interesting. I believe, as explained here, it has to do with the geomagnetic ley line forces, and the same thing happened. Same thing, of course, was taking place with the temple in Jerusalem. Okay, please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.